5 p.m., June 22nd. We've all received the minutes. Are there any questions, modifications?
Make a motion to approve.
All right, I will second that. And I think it passed unanimously. All right. No personnel transactions in this meeting?
There are plenty of them, but Dave has been working on a massive payroll upgrade project, so I preferred that he spend his time on that than putting together the report, so we'll be reporting on that at the next meeting.
Well, and we had caught up. Dave had caught up, so we were really only looking at the last month or two anyway. So
yep.
Thank you, Dave, for that. All right, then. We'll wait till next time. Correspondence.
Yep.
Ms. Butker.
So the first item is just from State Civil Service. We had an exam cancellation request acknowledgement. It is not really canceled, it's just we had to move the date of the holding. This is a training and experience exam where candidates are provided a website and they log in and enter training and experience information, and then they are rated that way. We just, because of the absence of the library director and the need for recruitment and her assistance with that, we needed to put it off. So that was moved from June to August. So it is a cancellation, but really more like just a change in date. Next was an email.
Entry-level law enforcement.
Entry-level law enforcement, yeah, I'm just trying to... Oh, yeah, okay, I'm sorry. So basically, the State Civil Service, if you recall, the exam used to be held earlier in the year, and then it was moved until September. Now, for an agency like us, where we have to administer the exam every single year, this puts us at a huge disadvantage because the bulk of our recruiting is done through 2-year criminal justice programs. So of course, when you have a September exam, we're doing the majority of our recruitment over the summer when colleges are out of session. So the change did us no help. So they were thinking about moving the exam from September to June, which would obviously be ideal for us. The state opened it up to feedback from agencies. Of course, I responded to this questionnaire emphatically, yes, we would support this because of the negative impact it has on our recruitment. So I have not heard any results from that, if they have decided to do that. I know that some of my colleagues in the state were supporting the September exam, but those are much larger agencies with bigger applicant pools who are not giving the test and having to recruit every year like we are. So more to follow, but I thought that was interesting, and I was glad that the state was,
And I would think they would have the data to address that, and particularly given that they moved it.
Yeah.
Relatively recently, I can't.
Within the last few years, I mean, I think that they moved it for administrative reasons and didn't fully anticipate the impact on the local agencies. And also recognizing, like, a lot of agencies are much larger than us, and they're literally giving an exam once every 4 years. You get on the list, you have, like hundreds or 1,000 candidates in much larger agencies. So I think that they've probably been hearing from a lot of smaller agencies like us about the negative impact that the exam holding date has had on our ability to recruit people and have a pool. So if they move it to June, I'm hopeful that we'd really be able to do some more recruitment in the spring before school recesses for the summer. We'll see. Tentative master exam schedule, fall 2022 through December. Through August 2023. There were some exams that were helpful to us, one of which you will see in the exam section when we get to that, is the transportation director exam that was out there for 3 years. So Keith, I think that the state commission must have been watching our commission meeting, heard your chagrin expressed over that, and they've now acted accordingly. So
if it were that easy.
Yeah. So that's good news. We're always glad to have that just for purposes of exam planning. We do have some exams we really desperately need to give, so I'll be looking at that information to do our own exam planning.
Great.
The next was on June 2nd, we received word that the exam scores, the exams had been graded for the higher level account clerical series, which was given, the test was given in February 5th, I think. And so we have those scores. You'll see under eligible list establishment, we do have a list, so Nancy and I put those in there. That was a very welcome score set to receive because the library is looking to make higher in their title of senior account clerk, so that was helpful.
And they are all reachable.
They're all reachable equally, so that puts the library director in a good position to pick from any one of those three candidates.
We need a motion or just the signatures?
We will need the signatures when we get to the list establishment section. So right now, I'm just reporting it. You're the chair.
No.
You can do whatever you like, sir. The next correspondence was another kind of questionnaire format, which was from Anthony Rotundo, who's a human resources specialist from the State Department of Civil Service, asking about the entry-level law enforcement. So when you see that ELLEO acronym, it means entry-level law enforcement officer. So they've been hearing through many agencies that as a way to incentivize recruitment, they were looking to waive exam fees. So they requested that information from many agencies. For the people who responded publicly, I just gathered that information in the spreadsheet that's on the reverse side of the correspondence, just so you can see what other places are doing. As you can see, the vast majority of agencies that responded, people are not waiving fees. Of the people who are, City of Fulton waived the fee for police exam only. Genesee County waived all exam fees for the remainder of the calendar year. Dutchess County also waived the police exam fee. Hamilton County, as Chair Bob mentioned, never ever charged any exam fees ever for any exam ever. So, as reported. Onondaga County, they've waived all exam fees for the year, including police. Now, keep in mind, some of these agencies, like Onondaga County, Genesee County, they have much higher exam fees than we do. So our uniform exam fee is $25 and $15 for non-uniformed. So my recommendation to the commission is that I have not really found our exam fee to be a bar to recruitment. Some of these agencies, I can't remember which one, but they had an exam fee of $100 because, you know, they're processing a lot of candidates, and quite frankly, it's very expensive to process police candidates because we're dealing with psychological evaluations, background checks, medical things. So I think it's a portion of the cost to offset just the cost of doing business, and I mean, my recommendation is that we leave it there. I believe that our recruitment is equivalent to, if not better than, similar agencies, which I know from reviewing the shipping reports that the state issues for exams. So I responded to Anthony that I would.
Well, certainly I'm comfortable with maintaining the fees. That sounds really modest.
It's modest. I mean, just to put it into perspective, I mean, a psychological assessment only is $300 for every candidate, whether they get hired or not. So $25, I mean, is a percentage, and that doesn't include medical screening or time that it takes the detectives to do a background or the cost of fingerprinting, any one of a number of things. So.
Okay. Well, unless they're coming back with significant findings.
And there was something, I don't know what I've done with it, and I apologize, I don't see it in there, but there was an email from the State Civil Service just saying that the exam request program was temporarily suspended, so you couldn't order any new exams. It has since been resolved.
That was the one about the numbers.
Third from the last.
Oh, I'm sorry, I put it in the wrong order. Maybe where is it?
In my package, it's the third from the last.
Oh, there it is. I see it. Yep, exam request temporarily suspended. And I don't know if you read through it, but it was, the glitch was that they have, because all civil service exams have to have unique identification numbers, they ran out of exam numbers.
Well, I did read that.
Yeah.
And being taught all along that numbers are somewhat infinite. I found it a little hard to, although I used to know how to program DOS, and there were only so many,
C colon tree. So I think that, I don't disagree, but all exam numbers based on the state civil service system have to begin with a 6 for an open competitive exam or a 7. So I don't think it's all numbers that we're looking at, numbers with a prefix of 6 or 7.
okay, but it's been resolved.
It has been resolved, yes.
Good. Good. All right, now moving on to the eligibility list.
Yep, so we had 3 candidates take the senior account clerk exam back in February. All 3 passed, they did very well. We have 100, a 95, and a 90. Nancy Allison, the personnel clerk, has reviewed the scores and double-checked it against my entries, and we've agreed that this is the correct placement of the candidates.
Great.
So,
A motion to, I'll move to accept or to adopt the eligibility list.
I'll second.
great, I'll get you guys to sign after we're done, thank you.
Okay.
Exam status is next. There's a few new inclusions since the last time we met. You will see that we have a finance director exam. It's listed there twice. That's because I've requested it both promotionally for existing internal applicants as well as an open competitive exam. That is strictly succession planning. Jenny Lee, our finance director, has been with us for over 30 years, and while she has not determined a retirement date, we know it's coming, and it would be almost irresponsible of us not to give the exam and have it ready to go so we can have a good, a list of good candidates ready to go when she does decide to retire. Community Development Assistant, that position is currently filled provisionally. Librarian 1, you will see that was the one I mentioned had been canceled because we needed to reschedule. That is now being held in August. Police officer was given, we requested it again because we exhausted our list, so that will be given either in September or June of 2023. Senior water treatment plant operator, that one's been out there since February.
There will be one in 2022, correct?
Oh, police officer, yes, I apologize. So it is on schedule to be given in September. God, I'm sorry, it's been a long day. It is currently scheduled for September 17th of 2022. So I don't know why that's not listed in here. But it is scheduled, we got a scope, it's announced, it's out there.
Good.
Firefighter, that was given in March. We are currently awaiting the scores on that. Then these other ones, Deputy Public Works Director, Police Lieutenant, Purchasing Agent, Accountant. They've all been out there for some time. Director of Facilities, Maintenance, and Transportation, that's for the school district, so that's been scheduled. That was ordered in August of 21.
Great.
Yeah, so we're moving along. Ordinance Inspector, that's been out there since 2021. Senior Account Clerk, that is cleared. That's the eligible list that you just voted to adopt. Administrative Specialist, Dave and Nancy administered that exam in May. We will have to give that exam next year because out of the candidates that took it, we did not have anyone who was willing to accept appointment to a vacancy. So we're having to hire in that title provisionally, which was a disappointment.
Wow.
Water and Sewer Supervisor, been out there since 2020. Purchasing Agent, it is somewhat of a duplicate request, but as I mentioned previously, we've wanted the State Civil Service to know I was serious, that we really need that exam. That's provisionally hired as well. Accountant, Junior Accountant, Records Management Clerk. And then Transportation Director, this does not list that it has a scheduled date, but it does. That exam is also posted. That's being held on August 13th. While it is not listed here, we also intend to hold the decentralized water treatment plant operator exam also on August 13th.
Okay.
If we're going to make the staff come in on a Saturday in August, we might as well consolidate our exams.
Great.
Yeah, so we were really, obviously there's still some that are kicking around that have been there for some time, but our oldest one, the transit director, that's scheduled, and that's good news.
Sure, you'll be glad to take.
Well, it's hard to be, we've discussed previously, it's hard to be a provisional in limbo for that long. I mean, it's hard.
Speaking of old business,
Yes.
the correspondence with the state civil service,
Yep, I believe the last I reported was that I was looking for some advice on what would be the most appropriate and meaningful way, and I have not really received any feedback. I haven't forgotten about it. I just don't really have any updates this month, but for the next meeting, for sure.
okay.
Even if we just have to make, you two, have to make an executive decision about sending it to both, sending it to one or the other.
Okay. Well, and the likelihood of it having an impact is minimal, but I think we should be on record, because some of these dates,
I agree.
all right. New commissioner, welcome.
So Michelle Osterhout was not able to be here tonight unexpectedly, so we're very happy that she's agreed to join us. She replaces outgoing Commissioner Elizabeth Burns. We thank Liz for her years of service. She was a great colleague on the Civil Service Commission. I always appreciated working with her. Just due to some personal and professional commitments, she resigned from the board. That's been handled through Carrie in the mayor's office. And Michelle was appointed, and I'm assuming we'll need to coordinate signing the oath book with you. So I'll remind her about that. So we'll welcome Michelle at the next meeting.
All right, carry it on. It can be old business at the next meeting.
Sure thing. I do have one additional, I'm sorry, what did you say, Commissioner?
Louise will have something in the business.
I did have one other new item of new business. There's no documents to go with it, Carrie. I apologize. I promise there's nothing. I had forgotten that I really should include it. I just thought the commission might appreciate an update on where we are with our public safety hiring. So, for police, I mentioned that we have exhausted our list. We have one additional candidate that we interviewed in the spring who was not selected to attend the Spring Police Academy. He has since been selected to attend the Zone 5 Law Enforcement Academy in Schenectady. That starts in July. So he has been issued a conditional offer, and we'll be getting that to council for approval June 27th for a hire date later in July.
Have we used Schenectady before?
We have used this particular law enforcement academy not as heavily as we do the Broome County Law Enforcement Academy, but it's been found to be equally as effective and comprehensive. So a lot of local agencies use it, and the candidates that we've sent through, according to what I'm told by the chief, come out pretty well.
Good.
So.
Good.
On the fire side, we're not doing so great. We have, two recruits who were off at the State Fire Academy in Montour Falls. They were hired earlier this year. They'll be back sometime in August, and they're filling 2 vacancies for people that were lost through retirement. We have 1 additional vacancy that we're looking to fill for a full-time budgeted position. And we are processing 3 candidates right now, 2 of whom are on the prior list. 1 is on the list which will be established as soon as we get the scores. It's been a significant topic of discussion recently between myself and the fire chief because, as you know, we have physical agility requirements that are identical for police and fire candidates. Typically with police, we see about a 50% failure rate. With fire, we see an 80 to 90% failure rate. So obviously, of course, and the point that I've been making to the fire chief is that when we have that high of a failure rate, it means that we're perhaps not testing as appropriate to the position as we could be. What we use is an industry accepted exam. The candidates are advised about it multiple times, well in advance. So I don't believe anything has been done wrong or incorrect, but I do think that for the next time we hold the exam, we need to really take a hard look again at what we're going to do. Many agencies do a modified CPAT, which is a candidate physical ability test, which is something that the commission had considered previously. We really didn't have the equipment or the staff to be able to administer that. I mean, the consequence of this is that, we had, 20-some candidates take the exam. We scheduled the physical agility for June 8th. We had several medical excuses, which we, gave them alternate test dates once they provided us with documentation. We had about 11 or so people come, and out of all those people, we had literally two passed. So to fill, one vacancy, we have a pool of two to pick from. Not saying that either one of them is, they meet the qualifications. Maybe one of them is a poor candidate, but it just does not give us a pool from which to select.
I guess I'm somewhat astounded.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking push-ups, sit-ups, running.
Push-ups, sit-ups are identical. It's the standards that are used by the Municipal Police Training Council, so they're vetted. It matches, it's designed to gauge your cardiovascular and your upper body strength and your core strength. Nancy, the personnel clerk, and I called every single one of the candidates that failed, and we kind of just doing some market research to say, hey, what went wrong here? Like, were you not prepared? Were you not aware of the requirements? Is there anything we can do to help you prepare for the retest? Do you need nutritional counseling? Do you need exercise counseling? Do you want to come and run or work out with our departmental trainer, firefighter Tubia? And everybody responded that they were aware of the requirements and they just needed to be better prepared. So,
How many push-ups do you do?
it's dependent upon your age and gender, Russ. I'd have to look it up, but I want to say, for like a 19 or 20-year-old male, it's posted on our website and it's in the exam announcement, but I could email you that
No,
information.
I was just curious, this one.
And it's push-ups, sit-ups, and run a mile and a half.
Mile and a half, yep. And again,
And a mile and a half in under 12 minutes.
again, it's dependent upon, I can.
That's all, I'm just, I'm astounded, and,
Yeah, I think.
Are there group activities, or, that's the wrong term, holding some sort of fair where these guys did get to work out with, in advance?
Yeah, we've talked about a few of those options, come and run, come and watch Don Tubia. He'll demonstrate how to do a push-up correctly to be sure every repetition is counting, because there are some pretty specific formats for how they have to be done. The one thing I did hear from a couple of the candidates is that they thought that perhaps a practice exam held in advance, even maybe on the day of the written test, might help people be better prepared. But again, all of them pretty much recognize that it's on us. We knew the requirements, we just weren't prepared, or we prepared inappropriately. So it is what it is. There's nothing we can do about it for this exam other than try to encourage and prepare and do what we can to try to be sure people are better prepared to go into their retest and see if that has any effect. But
I'd also just like to say that Chief Knapp really did go above and beyond with recruiting and reached out to candidates ahead of time. He spoke to everybody saying, this test is coming, please be prepared. So not only is it on the exam announcement, but to have Chief Knapp actually call all these candidates and make that personal connection with them, I commend the fact that he took that extra step.
so certainly it was not lack of awareness that, it's on our website, it's on our exam announcement. We did mention the chief and assistant chief both came to the exam site the day of the test and talked about its importance, and and then, like you said, they reached out personally to every candidate that was cross-filing, taking the exam at a different site. They talked with them, so.
All right, well, moved to initiate an executive session
I'll second.
at 5:24.
David can give us purpose. Yes, it's to discuss a specific personnel matter in, well, I guess I don't have to say where, do I?
Nope.